Ladies and gentlemen, it's now 5:45 PM and a quorum of members is present. So this work session of the Board of Education of the School District of New Berlin is called to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Arend,
Here.
Mr. Helmer,
Here.
Ms. Konick, Ms. Peterson,
Here.
Ms. Schultz,
Here.
Mr. Seidel,
Here.
Mr. Zelinski.
Here.
Ms. Connick, let me know she is unable to attend this evening. In recognition of the serious and important nature of our efforts here, we will join in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. For all those who are able, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for those who wish to prepare for the meeting, we will have a moment of silence. This is a public meeting of the Board of Education. Prior to this meeting, notice was given to the public last Friday by posting the agenda at each district school, the district office, and the city library. The agenda was also posted on the district website. Copies of the agenda were forwarded to the Waukesha Freeman and the Journal Sentinel, which have filled requests for all public notices. Okay, so this is our annual workshop on setting our goals and guardrails and deciding what we want to do for board development for the upcoming, or actually we're in the start of this new school year. So tonight, what I hope we can get through, we're going to quickly review the district and board mission vision. Then we're going to spend the bulk of our time setting our 25-26 goals. We're going to also review and set the this should actually say 26-27 goals, and then the 26-27 guardrails. I missed that part. And then we're going to decide on what we're going to do for our board development for this year, and then decide on any next steps. So mission and vision, which has not changed. There's a link there to the district website. So this presentation was also shared with you yesterday, so you should have a link to this in the email if you want to click on anything. And then just a reminder, the strategic plan for the school district has been these 4 basic goals, and we have also aligned our goals to fall underneath these. There was also a link there to the full strategic plan. And actually it changes. I'm sorry, I realize I missed updating some of these dates. It's actually 2026 to 2029 now, correct? Yeah, because you do it every 3 years. Board of Education mission and vision. So we've always shared the same vision statement as the district. Our mission is to oversee the district to live out its mission through accountability, vision, community, leadership, and policy. We haven't changed this at all, so I don't know any thoughts on updating our mission and vision. Okay. For the goal setting. Something I like to also review, we did for our board development a couple of years ago. We read Great on Their Behalf. And some things I pulled out of that book that I thought were really important is that school boards exist to create the conditions for improved student outcomes by representing the vision and values of the community. And anytime school boards are focused primarily on the how, they have stopped being focused primarily on the why, whether or not children are better off. Also for our goal management, we use this framework where we set our objective, what is it we want to accomplish, and then the key results, how will we know? We typically have not changed the overall objective. We have changed our key results over the years. And we always want to keep those specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely, the typical SMART goals. I dropped in here a chart that the administration gave. It was very helpful to put together. This is the goals that we set for last year with the key results. There's also links there to show where we went over those to show that we did achieve them. Also with the meeting date, if you ever wanted to go back and review that meeting, any of the notes or watch the video. So for This past year, we determined the annual goals for the following key performance indicators. We were looking at ELA scores, math scores, ATC scores, and also students who participate in extracurricular activities. And then we were tracking the annual snapshot data provided by the district seniors regarding their post-secondary plans. And we also were asserting the district's current career and life ready opportunity offerings. So those were the goals this past year when it came to student achievement. Then we had a staff goal. We required that the annual retention rate for top performers be tracked and shared as part of the annual staff survey data presentation, which it was. And then we're having our meeting tonight where that data is going to be shared. And then we also, we did this 2 years now, identified the 2 lowest scoring response questions on the annual employee experience survey. And so then we've also addressed that to try to get those scores up. For the fiscal, we had 3 key results: review the district's long-range facility plan, then we also did the review the education foundation's financials, and then pending the determination of that potential the gifts, what we were going to do with that feasibility study, which we have accomplished all of those. And then community goal was engage the community more. We ensured updated memorandum of understanding between the district and the education foundation, which we did. We support the administration of capital campaign. Now we've approved the playground funding, that's the outcome of that, and then we include the 3-year rolling goals on that data dashboard for those KPIs that we picked out. We did board development, we did unpacking the state report card and unpacking the AC Act 20, I'm sorry. So we had a couple presentations. That was what we did this past year. So after reviewing all of that, we'll start working on this year's goals. Also, you'll notice in these slides that there's going to be some boxes there. Those have been, the administration gave some suggested goals based off of the superintendent goals, because we typically ask Joe to set his own goals, and then we sort of work along with that. I know we already talked about student achievement a little bit, talking about the screen time. That's been the main one we've talked about. So I see that the administration came up with a suggested goal. I also dropped in there based off of what Matt has been sharing about some sort of a monitoring kind of dashboard to be used so families can check that. So I put that in there. So do we want to keep, first of all, do we want to keep the main goal, constantly strive to increase student achievement through opportunities and accountability? Do we want to keep that as the main goal? Board, sound good?
That's the high level.
Yeah, that's the high level goal, so.
You can tweak it, but I think it has to be around something with student achievement. Or
If we want it, yeah, if we want to
If you want
keep,
to change a verb in there, I guess I'd be okay with that.
which actually I could say, do we want to continue doing 4 main goals based off of the strategic plan? That's probably the first question. Do we want to keep doing student, staff, fiscal, and community?
I have a goal that I think could fit into student achievement, so
Okay.
if people are okay with that, otherwise I don't know if we would want to expand on that.
And typically, that's what we do. We'll do like key results under student achievement. So if it falls into if it falls into one of the ways of measuring the constantly strive to increase student achievement through opportunities and accountability, then yeah, we would put that in there as an action item.
My opinion is these are still the correct 4 overarching
Okay.
goals.
All right. Okay, so we'll stick with these 4 overarching goals, and we'll go back down here to student achievement. Mandy, do you want to start sharing what you're thinking?
Sure.
Okay.
So one thing that I wanted to see if we could add is something about prioritizing student wellness. So looking at the SMART categories, and I did a little bit of research from other school districts that are higher ranked both in the state and the nation that do this as well. And some of the things I thought we could check is like checking attendance to make sure kids are coming to school. Taking more of an in-depth look at the behavior and discipline charts. And then maybe doing student surveys, kind of like we do with the staff. We could do either like end of semester or end of semester and end of year and just see how overall the students feel their experiences in school, whether it be their belonging, their mental health, all of the above. So something that's not necessarily academic, but that their wellness will also increase their academics, if that makes sense.
And are you thinking
Sorry, I
this
said that
being
kind of fast.
a family survey for the
No, I mean,
parents?
it could be a family, I meant more like for the students, to get their input on how they think things are going inside of the schools.
And how young would you think of doing that?
Like middle school and high school, I would say.
I do want to clarify that we actually do a student survey annually. One suggestion I would have is having us unpack that survey data and present it to the board. And that's something that we can pull together. We already have, so we do end-of-year surveys for students and families. And that's something that maybe we can bring to the board in a presentation.
I like that.
And that it does
Yeah.
include some of the things that you mentioned
Okay.
in that survey.
Okay.
And if there's something that's missing, then obviously you would let us know and we'll
Yeah.
provide what's needed.
Well, one of the things I was looking at was, I don't know if I have it, okay, so like when we get the discipline report, you know, it'll say that there's these incidents, but then it doesn't always say like, what was the outcome of the incidents? It's only like suspensions or expulsions. But maybe we could take a more in-depth look of like what happens during like the, you know, just the various behaviors that take place.
We can't, we
Yeah, go
can't
ahead.
discuss those individually.
Right, not by
Yeah.
name, just like, we have numbers for some things, but we don't have. Does that make sense?
What are you looking at specifically in
So,
terms
like,
of details?
Like, I have one of them pulled up, and again, I'm new, so this may not be possible, but, so, you know, like, if you look it up, it's drug-related assault, theft, and it'll say, you know, there's 37 inappropriate behavior events, but then it doesn't say what the outcome was due to that behavior. So
So,
like,
like-
how are we handling those behaviors in the schools if they're not leading to suspension?
So like we have those, like the suspension report.
Yeah.
So like you want to see them tied, like, okay, how many of these incidents led to these?
Yeah, or like, are they
Suspensions and-
reoccurring? Like, how are, you know, like, how are we making sure that the kids in school that are on the other side of these events, does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
I guess, Mandy, did you have proposed wording for a goal?
Well, that's the difference part of it, though, is I don't know if it's going to be an action item. It would have to be more condensed than if it was its own goal. So it could be something like prioritize student wellness by tracking attendance, taking an in-depth look at behavior statistic data, and student surveys. I mean, it doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be all of those things. I want to make sure that we are prioritizing students academically, but also their well-being inside of the schools. And I just didn't see that as a goal yet.
I think the hard thing is most of these have to be measurable.
Right.
So like attendance, I mean, as a board, like we wouldn't track individual attendance. We look at graduation rate and like more outcome-based rather than inputs to that.
But we could track if attendance is going up or down based on,
And we do that already.
Right.
Yeah,
As a district.
right,
that
so
would-
we could make that, we could see it as a board too, though, right?
I think it's,
The goal for us would be to improve,
Improve attendance.
Yeah.
but
Improve.
that's not, yeah.
I mean, we can definitely monitor, but that's not really a goal to monitor something unless we want to like.
Improve it.
If
Or
we're
we know
monitoring
if
it.
there's an issue.
Yeah, if we're looking, or if we want to maintain, like, a goal would be to maintain attendance at where it is or increase.
Right.
Attendance. And like,
Right, like, so like prioritizing student wellness by maintaining or increasing attendance. You know, lowering behavior, you know, XYZ behaviors.
But I think we'd have to see a
And-
correlation, like, if we improved attendance by 1%, would GPAs go up? Or would kids go to?
But I guess that's what I'm saying, though, is like, we're saying that it's more than, like, a student is more than just an academic number, right? Like, a student is also their well-being. And like, even in the strategic plan, it talks about prioritizing mental health, and I don't think we have anything like that as a board goal yet.
I guess,
sorry, thinking.
Janet,
Go
do we
ahead.
have anything that's easy to pull up that shows like what the goals were last year? Maybe that's your first few slides.
Yeah, those were the first few slides. So last year's student achievement was looking at the ELA scores, math scores, ACT scores, graduation rates.
Who
Yeah.
participated in extracurricular activities? Right.
So I guess, Mandy, we do have graduation rates in there.
Yeah, but a graduation rate doesn't necessarily mean that a child is happy inside school. You know, like just because they
Yeah.
graduate doesn't mean they're not getting bullied or harassed or taken seriously and I just think that as a board, we need to,
I think
do
I'm gonna have, did
something
you
from
guys,
along those
did they get
lines.
the book that, the book that I
Good on their
cite?
behalf?
Yeah, good on their behalf, because this sort of is what he went to. Boards are thinking constantly of adult issues. They're thinking of how they can do something and not actually looking at whether in the end the children are better off. And I'm just wondering, is this something we're falling into where we're trying to do something? We're trying to get an input without really knowing what the output is. We're making assumptions.
Yep. I agree. I
Yeah.
think that's,
okay, that's fine if no one
Yeah.
wants to put anything in it. I just will say the first part of it though, where it says the school board exists to create conditions for improved student outcomes by representing the vision and values of the community. That was something that was very strong for people that I talked to, was the bullying and the mental health of what's going on inside the schools that aren't talked about or aren't prioritized. So that's one of the main reasons why I
So
brought this to the
then
table.
that's really what you're getting at, is trying to look at improving
bullying.
the
Is that-
bullying.
Oh, and yeah, just because that will correlate with mental health as well, just
Well, but
overall
that's-
mental health
But that's where we
of
have to find
students.
so when we're jumping from attendance to bullying.
Well, I was just giving indicators that we could task. I was
Yeah.
looking at other districts that have already implemented this and what they
dis-
were looking at.
What districts, you want to share that? I think that would probably be helpful.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do they have an actual
Muskego is
goal?
one of them.
Okay.
Whitefish Bay is one of them, and then I found a couple higher school districts that are just like nationally as well. I have a.
Sorry,
little
I'm
slide.
sorry. Muskego, no.
No?
We shouldn't pattern ourselves after anti-bullying that goes on in Muskego. I'm just going to tell you that.
I was just looking at a strategic plan, whether
Yeah,
they
so-
implement it or not. I'm just
So
looking
what
at
is their
ideas.
goal? Like, what are we looking at copying of theirs?
So it just, there's student wellness and, it says student wellness and belonging, attendance, behavior and discipline data, co-curricular participation rates, which we're already doing, student experience surveys, student service, team contacts, and tracking the number of peer mentoring experiences.
And that's their board goals?
Yes.
Janet, could you go back to slide 10 for a minute?
Sure. Okay, which slide is it?
Mandy, what's a peer mentoring experience?
What is slide?
My guess is that, it's been a long time since I've been in high school, but my guess is it's, putting a peer and a peer together, like maybe an older peer with a younger
one?
peer to mentor in that way, or an older peer with maybe another peer that has like an IEP or some kind of special education plan. I'm not quite, again, I was just reading Muskego's, that's why I didn't add that on there, because I didn't know what we currently have that could model something like that. So I didn't know if that would be relevant to this particular board goal.
So I guess, Mandy, just looking at the first bullet points, so we list out ACT, graduation rate, et cetera. I guess, do you have additional metrics in there that you would propose adding?
Yeah, I would say we could take, again, like a survey, which you say you already do. So we could copy it based on how we do staff, like take the two bottom data points from the staff survey, from the student survey, and we could focus on those for the following year, or, something along those lines for a survey. It sounds like attendance may not be the best metric. But again, like I look at our behavior charts that we get, and it shows us all of these events, but it doesn't show us the outcome of, like one of them is assault, and there were 4 events of assault, and then it said like there's no
And I think part of
consequence
it,
from that, and I
part
just
of
think
it
that
is
that would be,
what we're limited in being able to share based
Right.
on a student record as well.
yeah.
Because if you have one drug-related incident and you talk about the consequence of it, you've just exposed
Which I,
who that student is.
yeah, which I totally understand. I'm just saying, like, if we could find a way as a board to figure out a tracking metric, then that would work. I don't think that we prioritize student wellness, mental health enough on a board goal, and I think that's important.
I guess, Joe, do we track like percentage of students engaged in, call it high-risk behaviors?
We do.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm looking at Muskego, and I'm sorry, I'm going to use them as an example, just as a template. So core metrics used to track wellness and belonging, the school climate survey data, so they use that, student attendance rates, mental health service utilization, they have on-site clinical counseling apparently, behavioral skills preparation, which is assessments tracking student growth and responsible decision-making and social emotional readiness, I don't know what that is. And then the state report card indicators, utilizing the Wisconsin DPI, report card metrics to track baseline student engagement and support equity gaps. That's what, it's a general summary of what they do. So since we're doing a school survey, we could definitely put that in. Now, we've never done it before, so we don't have like what it is we want to measure from it. It would just be like informational.
Could we do an end-of-semester student survey and then an end-of-year student survey? And then we could compare, like, say, higher student satisfaction in the spring than the fall? I don't,
So a suggestion that I would have is if you look at the third bullet point here for student achievement, and you take out career and life-ready opportunity offerings to instead add, so like ascertain the district's current
mental health policy, yeah. Or,
items that you just mentioned, and then provide support for additional, whatever it may be. So like, for example, we track attendance. We track bullying incidents, which quite honestly, bullying is a very specific term that we have to actually,
Just
it's
to define.
it's
gray area.
it's very defined, from the state, actually. And what were some of the other ones? So attendance,
and just like student
bullying.
surveys, yep.
student surveys, and so maybe even just, you're ascertaining that information based on the student survey that we would present to you.
Right.
And that's something that we've not done with the board, so that could be something that we could at least break down that data, which we already have. We break it down by school, and then the schools actually determine their specific goals based off of what that is, and so that could be a way to kind of format your potential goal.
Yeah, I would be okay with that, because that's, I mean, it's a start when we don't have a start yet, and then we could always
Correct.
see where that takes us. I would be okay with that. Of course, if everybody else is okay with that.
I'm okay with adding it if we can, if you can convince me that it's gonna end up with better outcomes in terms of education, student achievement education.
I mean, I can email.
Understand your view, but.
Yeah, I did do research as well on, like, just different articles and such that I read about how student wellness and positive mental health does correlate to better achievement at school, and I would be more than happy to send you that information.
So I agree with you. I think that does, but we have to have a way of tracking it. We have to say, we are doing X to improve mental health, to improve outcomes at our school. That's what the board's goal has to have. That's what a SMART goal is. So we have to tie it to something that we're going to do and something that's numerical, I guess, to show that we've made an improvement.
And that would be hard, quite honestly, because like, is more better?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that more would be better. So like Amanda, I know that we track opportunities of mental support for our students and actually even families. But then what would the goal be, to
Right.
increase that? Or, because I don't know that I want to increase that. I actually would hope that actually goes down. But it's based on need.
Yeah, you don't, more use of services might be better or worse.
Correct.
There's not a correlation that you directly want. Like, you want higher graduation rates. That is a very easy metric to look at. Higher equals better.
But if you look at the staff line, so like even if we just stuck to surveys, like the staff one says, identify the 2 lowest scoring response questions included in the annual employee experience survey and address ways to improve those scores. So we could give the students a survey like we do with the staff, and it could be a goal very similar
And we
to
already,
that.
so we already have like last year's survey
Yeah.
data. So, I mean, if that is a goal, we could certainly bring you the two lowest scores and say, here's what they were. And then what do you want to project out? So, yeah, if you want to liken it to the employee one.
Yeah, like we could make it the exact same goal, just under student achievement as it is staff relating to
I think we have
student.
to look at that survey as a board and say, what are they? And is it something that you guys are already fixing? And is it really a board goal then? Or is it just a go-do that the administration's already doing? That's what we have to look at, I think, before we make it a goal.
But then are we gonna change the staff one? Because we haven't looked at that yet either.
We look at that every year.
Right, so we could start doing that for students as well.
We made that a goal because we thought we saw issues with that. So that was why we did that.
Yeah.
All right, maybe let's chew on that for a bit.
Yeah.
But let's definitely go to the other one, the screen time, because that's something that I think we all feel pretty passionate about. So we should probably hash out definitely a screen time goal for this.
We define screen time. Does it just have to do with laptops, tablets, cell phones? Because I, for one, am not about students having cell phones in the classroom. I'm personally somewhat against that. It should be in their locker, car, left at home. That's personally my opinion. I think that with the data and everything that can be accessed from a cell phone, I believe it's dangerous. And I believe it's actually, I'm not in favor of having cell phones in the classroom. That's my personal belief. I work at a school that cell phones aren't allowed in the classroom. They get one warning, they lose their cell phone, it gets locked in the principal's office. It could be locked in the principal's office every day for the rest of the school year. They can pick it up at the end of the day. If they need to make a phone call, they go to the office and they get their cell phone and they can make a phone call. And I can tell you, student achievement's up, behaviors have went down. There's a lot less, so to speak, cyberbullying, things such as that going on in the classroom. There's less pictures being taken of random things that you can think of. So those are my opinions. So that's why I say when we define screen time.
As a point of clarification, so last year was probably the second year that we proclaimed that cell phones would not be used in classrooms, K-12. Very similar approach, Ron, to the school that you work at. Kids are disciplined appropriately because they're not supposed to have it. Where we do allow cell phones is during passing times and during lunch. Rationale for part of that is to maintain communication with parents, maintain communication with employers, possibly, as needed. And last year, we did allow cell phones during study halls, and we're not allowing them next year. So now the only times we're allowing cell phone use is lunch and passing times, as of now. We certainly can do, and the other thing with cell phones, so I think we're in agreement, Ron, with what you're mentioning, for all the reasons that you mentioned. What would be hard for us is, so like, for example, Matt's proposal related to screen time for iPads and the Chromebooks is we can monitor and track that. Where like, I wouldn't be able to have the data to say either kids are on their phone or not unless they're getting in trouble for it. You know what I mean?
So this is limited to iPads and Chromebooks.
Because that's the only way that we can track.
Agreed.
It's limited to school-issued products.
Yeah.
We can't track their iPhones, and you can't track it once they leave the building.
Oh, we don't need to track it once they leave the building. I think that we're misunderstanding what I'm saying. We don't need to track their phone. They get it at the end of the day, or they get it out of their locker during those times that you stated. The problem I have is there's been cases where pictures have been taken of kids from, let's just say it's a girl taking a picture of another girl in the locker room. And that gets passed around to different guys.
That's illegal.
It is illegal.
I think
realize,
there's other ways to deal with
Yeah,
that.
but
I realize that's illegal. I totally understand. And that's been dealt with at other schools. But the fact is that when you limit that temptation for something like that to happen during the school day, I believe it, I'm talking about my personal belief.
Yeah, but this goal is focused, so let's stick to this goal. This goal is strictly on school-issued iPads. So that would be a separate.
I was just
Yeah.
weighing in on
Yeah,
what
no,
my
it's okay.
belief
Yeah,
on
right,
it.
I wouldn't combine them.
Yeah,
I would-
Yeah,
We can
I would-
separate
we
them.
want
I
to,
would
yeah, if we want
separate
to,
them.
but that's a policy, that's not a goal. But this is, what do we want, we have to set and say, we want kindergarten screen time to be 45 minutes a day, or whatever it is, or 20 minutes. Or some sort of bandwidth that we want with that.
Yeah, so Janet, I had proposed wording for this based on previous discussions, the work we did with the draft policy, et cetera. I don't know if you have a pen or whatever, but I'll just read it. So the proposed.
Send it to me too then.
Yeah, the proposed wording is direct the administration via a superintendent goal to identify a solution for systematically monitoring screen time and minimizing unnecessary screen time on school-issued devices.
And so based off of that, if you look at what we proposed, it's in that first box. And so like, it can be a board goal, it can be my goal. And I think that makes sense, but I would just want to bring up a couple things. So that would be like the goal, but then the outcome would be,
Well, you guys have to report out on it.
yeah, if you go to the fourth proposed goal,
Oh,
Janet,
yeah. That's more of the
so
community
here is
engaging with the
where
parents on that.
we would also then educate parents and students, as well as adjusting our policies and procedures based on what we find.
So that box is the superintendent goal?
No, that box is actually, it falls under community. So sometimes we have goals that sort of is like two-pronged. This one in particular is students, but it's also community, because we want to have a goal for the students to have an appropriate screen time, but we also want the goal to be connecting with the parents, getting them that information and educating the families.
Which
So
are going to be a
that's the
key
other part.
partner in this whole thing. Yeah, yeah.
Will we be tracking just their use at school?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
we can track utilization, I think, outside of school, but that gets, like, I can't control that.
No, I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with that. I just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify that
Yeah.
it's just during school hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So if they're taking a device home that's school issued, that's not being looked at after school hour? Yeah.
Some kids don't.
Oh, that's, if it's on a different network, you can't.
But it's also
Yeah.
their devices, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure how that's.
No, I mean, if it's a school issued device.
I know, but
Yeah.
it's their device. It's the district's device.
Okay,
So there's a
yeah.
part of it that could probably be tracked because you have the hardware. But if it's on a different network, I don't know how much real-time data you'd be able to get.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure that we were clear that we knew it was just during school hours, especially if it's a community goal. Because then
And-
that way parents
yeah.
know that it's not like we're
Right.
monitoring how much time the parents let kids have it after school too.
Like Securely will say what your kids search. Some of that is just an app that
Mm-hmm.
tracks that, but I don't know if it'll monitor the usage and time. The different functions.
That's what we're going to get to based
Yeah.
on what we were looking at the end of the last school year.
So Janet, I think that box as shown is very good. I guess if you go back to the slide with the first overarching goal, What did we exactly say there?
So the goal is to reduce passive screen use. Well, that's the key result, and increase the purposeful technology use. And that's what we're going to try to measure.
So I think that top box makes sense and is worded correctly. I guess, do we also need an action item then, or would that box suffice?
That box really suffices, because it falls
Okay.
under, we want to, that's, doing that is we're hoping will increase the student achievement.
Okay, I
And
would,
Our goal is to increase that, and then the bottom ones are what drive, what the.
Yeah, that's what we're
subtopics
looking to
that
drive it, yeah, is,
Yeah,
Those are
okay.
yeah.
I-
So,
the bottom ones are the individual things that move that larger piece.
Yeah,
Because the top is just kind of fluff, right? It's like,
right,
it's
We wanna
basically the
improve it, but
topic.
what are we
It's
gonna-
like, it's the overall topic of the goal.
okay.
I mean, one thing that we could do is if you take that bottom box, or not the bottom box, but the first box, and then just add that bullet point, Janet, that you have drafted up above, and add that bullet point as a third bullet point underneath, so we don't miss that, because I think
Right.
that is a critical piece that Matt had, was really looking for, and we are very interested in as well.
yeah, I agree.
So,
You guys, that's the top two are the work you guys are gonna do, and the bottom is the report out of what you guys did.
actually, developing something that parents can track utilization, yeah, and we can too. Yep.
Yep, I'm good with that.
So you keep the in blue, the first bullet point I created.
So take that and add it as a third bullet point under the first box.
Oh, okay, okay.
So reduce passive screen time, one bullet point,
Yes.
increase, and then the third bullet point would be what you have up above. That way we don't miss that part. That's a critical piece.
Okay.
And then back to, Matt's question. So I think this is a board goal. But essentially, the board's goals, quite honestly, we do a lot of legwork on behalf of the board as needed. So, I mean, we'll be working on it. The one piece that I would add, though, is like with the fourth goal, for example, the community goal. I believe that was one that I had proposed being in my actual,
Your
like
own
one of my
goal.
specific goals for the community part. Because I also have, I'm dealing with ELA, math forward, pre-ACT, ACT. Obviously, this is another one, but we're going to be working on this anyway. So, I mean, you can add it into my goal, but I think if it sits here, it's still going to get done.
Right. I sort of liked how Matt worded it. He said direct at administration via superintendent goals. I think he sort of understood that the fact is even though we're setting these goals, it's the administration that actually carries it out. So, but I thought that was a good way of wording it.
I don't want to throw a wrench in the gear on this, but I'm starting to kind of second guess the second bullet on the increased purposeful technology use. Do we really want, I mean, as of today, I can't say I want to increase it or decrease it because we don't have the studies, right? If it comes out that we're spending 7 hours on devices, which I don't think is the case, it's probably too much.
Could we say like maintain
I don't think we
purposeful
put anything. I
technology
think we
use?
just reduce passive screen time.
Yeah, I would be
That-
okay
that's
with
my
that too.
thought.
I
Yeah.
agree.
That's a good point.
Okay, yeah, let's stick with that.
Okay.
Because
I
part
did
of,
throw a
part
wrench
of
in
that
there,
is
good.
you're
No,
assuming
that's
that when we use screen time, it is purposeful then, that's the assumption.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but maybe it should be more paper, or maybe it should be more screen
Yeah,
time. I don't know
right.
that we have that answer.
No, that's a good
Okay.
point.
Okay, sorry.
Can we make edits to this in real time, Janet, or are you just taking notes?
I'm taking notes.
Okay,
And then just send them out and have it.
And then well, what happens is I will send them out. And then I ask for you to give your feedback, but like, very, very specific. And also I make sure that it's blind copied, so not everybody is. So, because then I bring it back to the next meeting.
Yeah.
And then we're going to vote, we'll discuss this at the end. But like typically, the next one, we'll put it during a regular session and then actually do the official voting on it. But unless we feel we want we could do another work session next time if we want to have more time to spend on it than just a regular meeting. We're a meeting ahead of where we were last year. I looked at last year. We did our goal setting the first and second meetings in August. So we're just a little bit ahead of ourselves. Do we want to stick then with the screen time, the technology devices as our main goal for this coming year? Do we want to go back to anything that we did last year?
I have one other question.
You
about
do?
the screen,
Sure.
about the screen time goal. So thinking this through, we have a guidelines, right, for 4th through 6th grade, and we have a goal to provide the parents with that information, how much time they're using the screen. What is, if a parent comes back and says, I don't want my 3rd grader using this 4 hours, is that written in the policy, or is that going to be part of the policy of how to respond to that? Because I think that's what this is going to lead to.
I think that'll
Basically.
just be part of the policy itself.
Okay, that'll be part of the written
think so.
policy that we do.
And when we say policy, it's not like an official board policy, it's more like
It may be.
administrative policy?
It may
or-
be an actual
Okay.
board policy.
Okay,
You know, typically, like, we'd be proposing like guidelines. But, you know, if you look at that 4th goal, it does talk about reviewing policies and procedures. And so depending on where we land, we may need to make it a policy adjustment.
Yeah, I think, I do believe, my gut tells me that's going to be the outcome in some of this in the coming months. So we have to think ahead on that one.
I don't disagree. I think that we are looking at, some parents might say 3 hours, some might say 4, some might say 5, some might say 6, you know, like the whole school day. I, for one, think it should be less, not more, but that's, again, personal opinions.
I think it's a work in progress for sure. I mean, this is something somewhat new.
I mean, what you don't want to do is
doing
just start throwing
Yeah.
goals out and saying, do this, do this, do this, and we don't even have the number. So I think this is really kind of a year of learning for us, of getting
Yeah.
our feet.
So
I
Matt,
just
if
came
you-
across something recently, there's people, someone's doing a study on this topic. Like, what is a good amount of technology to be used?
Well, and the problem we have is a lot of the stuff is going more digital. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you want to go less digital, you may not have as much of an option. as
Well, and all their state testing is done on them as well, so they need to have some concept of knowing how to use them.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
Because you don't
Yeah,
want
it's
their
difficult.
lack of knowledge of the device to impact their test scores.
Yeah.
I think the one thing we all agree is them surfing on the internet and mindless stuff
Yes.
is not value add. So I
Yeah,
think
they
that's
shouldn't
the
be
main goal.
playing on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Janet, if you go to the 4th goal, I think this will address, Matt, if you look at, the second bullet point in that box, review and adjust policies and procedures as needed, depending on what we find. So it will be addressed, it's just a matter of how, you know, what the outcome of our work will be throughout the
Right.
year.
All right. Anything else on this? And Ron, I don't want you to feel like you're dismissed. I mean, do we want to take up discussing banning cell phones?
Banning is a strong word.
Okay. I don't know what else you'd call it.
But I think that's where we have to understand what the policy
Yeah.
is, and if we think there's gaps, then that would, but I don't know that's a goal. I think that would be a policy change.
And that might not be this discussion. Maybe do you want to put it on another agenda to discuss? Do we want to create a policy?
Yeah, I'll look for some information on
Okay.
Yeah, and
that.
we already have a policy
Yeah.
as
We
it
wanna
relates
change
to
it,
this.
yeah.
And so now, you know, the board approved that policy, I think, back in April, but then like the specifics of it. So like, for example, the study hall thing, we made that adjustment. That's not within the policy, it's within how we administrate. 4th and 5th graders now do not have access to YouTube, where they had before, at least on their district devices, anyway. So, you know, we're always making adjustments, and we're actually looking to possibly do YouTube all the way up through 6th grade. Not this coming school year, but the year after. So we're just slowly creeping from, I think it was K1, and then we did K3, and now we're up to 4, 5. And so we're just gradually kind of working our way up with YouTube. And I think that was the idea that the board, when we had informally discussed that we were looking at elementary off of YouTube on district devices.
When I get back to my cell phone thing, I always call it that someone gets sucked down the rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah.
And it's easy to do.
Happens to
You
me
know,
all the time.
And so when they get sucked down the rabbit hole, when we talk about student achievement, if they're down that rabbit hole on their cell phones, they're not learning anything.
And we
Yeah.
agree with that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep.
That's the only reason why I brought that up.
Fair enough.
Yep.
All right, we have 15 minutes. I don't, oh, that's okay.
That was a good one. That was a big one.
Yeah. I'm just going to move the next one, just in case. We've been consistently doing the same one every year, and it seems to be everybody likes it. So monitoring that annual retention rate for top performers to make sure that those are staying high. And then also the two lowest scoring responses that we want to tackle those each year. Do we want to change that? Is there anything else you guys are thinking of?
It sounds silly, but should we go to 3 lowest responses? I don't know. Maybe we just stick with 2. Just to expand it a little bit and get more visibility. We go through them all, I guess,
Yeah,
anyways.
I think it's because when every time it comes back, there's typically, mostly 2 outliers for the most
Yeah,
part.
it's usually.
Because we did start one year with, we said 2 or 3,
Yep.
Then just
and we
went to
did 2 because
Yes.
2 made more, because the problem is the one that's always low
Is
is
pay.
pay.
Yep.
And that's always, that's
Other than
only
pay.
so much we can do. Yes, so yeah, other than pay, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Joe, if we added a third goal in this, to this, what would you recommend it would be? Besides a survey and besides monitoring?
Well, I mean,
You're dealing with the
ultimately, our
staff
goal
level.
is to recruit and retain high-quality staff, right? So we're tracking it, and then we're addressing the 2 lowest indicators based on the staff survey. So I'm not really sure. I mean, you'll note when Scott presents, like, our retention rates are, I think, 98% of our highly qualified staff. Like, so it's, like, we're doing very well here.
We're not missing anything?
As far as retaining staff,
Yeah, you guys know
I
the
mean,
staff the best.
so like so we're talking about certified staff, but like one of the things that we brought up earlier, or that's going to be on the agenda for the regular agenda, was we do, we are like working with our support staff. We talk to them, we listen to them. And one of the things that came up with our special education assistants or our non-certified staff is like when we have a snow day, they don't get paid. That's problematic, and that's not their fault that the weather or the electricity was out, and everybody else gets paid. Why are they not? And so we are listening to them, hearing what they have to say, and so we bring those things to the board as we identify those things. But again, ultimately, it's recruiting and retaining high-quality staff. We're doing that. I mean, from my opinion, when we've got, I think, what is for all certified staff, what was it, 95% or?
The highly qualified for all staff is 97% total, and then the highly qualified, when you take out the retirements, it's 99%.
So we're doing if that's our strategic goal, because we want to keep our people and our good people, those are really good percentages.
So that could be more of a monitor really than a.
Yeah, I mean, that already says monitor and
Yeah.
support the annual retention rate, so I think I'm not sure what else we could do with that
I mean, the
one.
next thing we could do would be more of like a deep dive learning for us of like, I'm trying to think of it, but do we look at kitchen staff or?
Yeah, if you
But,
wanted to.
like, I'm trying to think of like, do you drill in somewhere else
Yeah.
or just leave it as that and focus our efforts elsewhere? And I think that's probably the right
Yeah.
solution. Instead of creating more work and,
Right,
unless it's something we want to understand, but I don't know if that's a goal. We could
yeah,
just
that
have
would just
be an
be, yeah, we
objective.
could always ask for more information. That's
Yeah.
not necessarily a
Agreed.
goal, yeah.
I think this is good, just leave it as it is.
Janet, my only nit was, we change attractive to destination.
Oh, look
Okay,
I thought you were in finance. Are you
Yeah.
marketing too?
or
Are you
HR.
saying that
Destination
we're not
employer.
attractive? Thank you.
Then fiscal. Anybody already have something they were thinking of? These are the suggested ones.
Kind of do.
Okay, yes, please.
As the facilities lead now, we are going to meet with the director of facilities. We're going to visit the schools, all of them, and we're going to do a tour, and we're going to get just a physical walkthrough to see how things are and discussion of what the top issues are, just so we have a better understanding of what the kind of boots in the ground approach to actually see what the issues are. That's part A of this. I think with what Joe submitted from your goals, Joe, with the playground and whatnot, I don't know if that should be part of our goals or not, if we align with that, but I think in the last meeting, we did vote on that, I believe.
That's why we do have like the third bullet point, for example, down below. Support the administration with the capital campaign as needed. That's what that's the playgrounds, and that's also the career and technical education spaces as well.
So it's just kind of an overarching goal, kind of encompass it, I guess.
And then Matt, back to your point of,
No. But it covers it without having to change anything.
but the, the facilities committee work, Matt, if you look at the first bullet point, that kind of gives that overarching, which, it's exactly what you're talking about.
Do we want to look at what we did last year again, just to?
They were very
Fiscal,
similar.
Yeah. We reviewed the long range facility plan. We reviewed the foundation. That should be ongoing. We should be reviewing their financials every year.
And then we
Yeah.
adjusted
So-
that third one based off of where we are actually at with like the playground work and the CTE work. It's more refined now.
We don't want to do something crazy, like add another $1 million to something, Mitch, huh? Like we did that one year? Remember the one year when we,
Yeah, when I almost had a heart attack?
yeah,
Yeah, that was great.
but it worked.
That was a lot of fun. Fun 41.
We made you work.
I remember it vividly.
Well, if you want to spell out the actual
I'm sorry.
projects, I mean, we've already voted on actual products, the tracks.
I mean,
Right.
You can put in parentheses or whatever, what couple things you want each year, I guess, like that. So you just call it out.
Well,
Otherwise,
could
in a
we-
year, We're gonna be kind of scratching our head, like, what was
Right.
that goal?
Well, for 26, 27, we've already made some
Yeah, so,
major decisions for.
so.
And they're just following up on it, making sure that they go smoothly, I guess, kind of, and.
Well, actually, let's start thinking about the next ones, maybe. That would be the goal, is to identify that, especially if you guys are gonna be doing a walkthrough.
Yes.
Maybe identify the next project, as part of our goal.
6 minutes or so.
Potential
Yeah.
projects, yes, absolutely.
Okay, potential, yeah. Okay. And then, of course, we've sort of already talked about community to tie that into the screen time, use of technology. Is there anything else we want to do for a community goal? Nothing? That's okay. Okay.
I mean, what you could do, Janet, is if you go to the previous one, you could take the second bullet point that's proposed there
Education
and
Foundation.
move that to community. I mean, it's a horse
Yeah.
apiece.
Yeah.
The only thing that I personally get a lot of feedback on that is community related, besides the digital aspect thing, is a lot of feedback about the libraries and the conditional libraries and the books that we have and kind of refreshing it. I don't know if other board members are getting that feedback or getting that information, but maybe it's just a Elmwood area thing, perhaps.
Elmwood and Reagan are both working on those things right now. We actually did do a refresh at Poplar Creek. Actually, it's in process this summer with new flooring, new paint, and so on.
And Reagan's is almost done, right? If it's
Correct.
not done.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not facilities per se.
And then the
Is it
Orchard
more
Lane
books
one
for
was
you
just
that you heard?
updated.
When you think of community, goals that will satisfy community needs,
Yeah, but I mean, sorry, the request you're getting, is it for new books or for a facelift of the building? Or both, or not sure?
depends on the person.
Okay,
It depends on the person. I think from the PTO itself, the feedback that I get via the PTOs is kind of like, why are the PTOs expected to fund the libraries? Has been kind of the random feedback, but then, and then the other individuals that are saying is, they think, sometimes they say we have our priorities, more on like tracks and fields rather than the actual libraries themselves. So it's just personal feedback that's coming. And it's all, for me, it's all the southeast area of
Yeah.
Berlin, so.
because I'm always curious, like, if it's the physical building, like, is it not conducive as a library the way it is?
No, I think-
Versus like a track where our track is failing and athletes literally cannot run on it, right? But I think we can still read in the library. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it content? Like, do we need book refreshes or?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, with the makerspace that's being built, at the one school, there's a lot of happiness, joy, whatever you want to say, progress. But then again, the backlash or the feedback that's coming is, why is the PTO the one responsible for funding that? But,
Yeah, and I think that's the case for, didn't Poplar Creek just do a library refresh and didn't, or Shirley, I'm sorry, that's what I was thinking. And the PTO did that, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a partnership between,
Was it- So it's not
And
just the
Reagan's was
PTO. it's-
100% almost the HSA and private donations.
Yeah, that's what I
So maybe it's where the funding's coming from. That's
Yeah, but
drawing
I think that's the
attention.
feedback, is that's what every school in the district does.
Okay. I don't know if it should be a goal, but I'm just stating it could be for like a community type, supporting something like that.
Well, if
Just
you-
throwing it out there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the topic, if you can like, if there's a specific way to say it, like what exactly we're trying to accomplish, I'm not sure. Is the goal for us to fund more of the library updates? Fund more of the maker spaces?
I get pushback for that. Financial guy over there. I think it has to do with, more so with community support, community involvement, and maybe community education, rather than the funding per se of it. Does that make sense?
No.
Messaging?
The messaging of it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But I don't know how we do that, though. Like, do we put out a flyer that says library renovations are done by PTO, like, at all schools? Like, that doesn't, I'm with you, but I don't know how we solve that as much.
I don't know if it's a board goal. Maybe it's
Okay.
just an action that we have during the year.
Sure.
So let's
Okay.
table that.
Well, if you come up with anything, let me know before the next meeting, and I'll add it, and I'll think about it too, if that's something we can write up.
Janet, can,
Man-
oh,
I was gonna say, I think Mandy mentioned something along the same line several weeks ago or several months ago on the same issue. I believe you did.
Like,
The libraries, just generally the
oh,
libraries.
yeah, I mean, and Reagan's is, I think it's finished now, but yeah, it was 100% our HSA and then private. We got lucky with a couple of big private donations. It took years, a really long time to raise that money.
Okay, we can move on.
All right. So yeah, we only have like,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, Matt, yes.
Real quick, Janet, on the financial one. I think the community expects us to always present a balanced budget without the need to go to referendum.
Right.
So I think it would be useful to memorialize that as a goal.
oh, it's memorialized in the guardrails. Oh, we haven't even gotten there yet.
Oh,
Whoops.
okay.
Okay, let me quick go.
32 seconds.
Yes, we might start a little late. Okay, so we set guardrails. So the goals are things that we want to do. Guardrails are things that we say, the administration cannot do this. So we're basically saying, you guys, the administration, you do your jobs, but the board is saying, do not do this, though. So,
It's like, fix the budget, but here's the things that you can't.
Right. So, for instance, the first one we have here, do not review new curriculum to be chosen without involving the board from the beginning. So we always make sure that there's at least one board member who's involved with any curriculum decisions, because we don't want to suddenly, the administrations pick something and then they present it to us, and suddenly that's the first time we hear about it. We want to be involved earlier. Do not significantly alter the organizational chart without first consulting the board. So if there's going to be any major changes to the administration organization, we sort of want to be pulled in early. Do not recommend, hire, or promote without first informing the board of any legal issues or accusations of misconduct. Do not include consolidation of schools and/or referendum as options to cover cost of expenditures. So that's where we've got it, right in there.
Perfect.
Yeah. And do not increase class size beyond recommended limits, and do not advocate for specific curriculum. So those are the things we've set in the past. Is there anything we want to change? Anything you want to add? So we came up with these a couple years ago based off of that book we read, and thought that was really helpful because that sort of gives the administration a better understanding of what it is that we don't want to see happen. So,
I personally think these look good.
okay. Anything else? Yeah. Okay, let's see what I got left. So, no, nothing new or revised. Development, we don't have enough time to talk about tonight, but if there's anything you want us to see us do, like a book or a workshop, some sort of even team building, anything like that, let me know. We usually try to do something. Or if we want to learn a little more, like last year, we learned more about those report cards and student achievement scoring. And then next steps. If you want, and does anybody want another workshop to discuss this more, or should we just put it on a regular agenda? I mean, we can continue to discuss it on a regular agenda. It's just a little more formal.
I still feel like I would really like, whether it be a new goal or we figure out a way to put it in achievement, if we can't tie it to achievement yet, making a new goal, but something where we're prioritizing the mental health and wellness of the students inside the schools.
Do you want me to just, or you can send me something to put into the proposal for what we vote on during a regular meeting?
Sure.
Or do you want another workshop to get a little?
I'm fine with
Regular
either, as
meeting?
long as because we'll have to discuss it
Yeah.
obviously either way, so
Yeah,
whichever is
because
fine.
it's still, it's just, this is supposed to be a little more informal for
Yeah.
us to talk. There's none of me like making sure everybody gets one, nobody talks over each other, so.
Yeah, Mandy,
Okay.
if you could send that proposed goal to Janet, myself, and Ann. So what Ann will do soon, we'll kind of take everything that was discussed here, share it with Janet to say, Janet, this is what we think we heard. Janet will make her adjustments and then send it to all of you to be discussed and approved at the next meeting. So if you could share again your thoughts with Janet, myself, and Ann, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the plan is then for a regular agenda item and a formal vote on the next meeting. All right, well then that's it. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry it took an extra 4 minutes, so let's, motion to, we have to adjourn this meeting. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
No,
Motion to
I need it
adjourn.
first. I need the
I
motion.
motion to
make-
adjourn.
Okay, we got Mandy with the motion. Mitch, do you want the second, since you went second first? All of those in favor, say aye. Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Okay, now we have to open up the next meeting, don't we? We do. Okay. Yes, we're going to go right to close, but we do need to do this again, so sorry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 6:49 PM and a quorum of members is present, so the meeting of the Board of Education, the School District of New Berlin is called to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Arend?
Here.
Mr. Helmer?
Here.
Ms. Konick? Ms. Peterson?
Here.
Ms. Schultz?
Here.
Mr. Seidel?
Here.
Mr. Zelinski?
I would entertain a motion to recess to closed session.
I'll make a motion to move to adjourn to closed session pursuant to section 19.85 1C E and F of the Wisconsin statutes to consider approval of closed session minutes and employment performance matters and compensation matters pertaining to staff.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Seidel and a second by Mr. Helmer. Please call the roll.
Mr. Seidel?
Yes.
Mr. Helmer?
Yes.
Mr. Arend?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
We're moving into closed session. We'll return to open session around 7 o'clock. Okay. Everybody ready? It is now 7:06 PM and we are returning from closed session into open session. In recognition of the serious and important nature of our efforts here, we will join in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. For all those who are able, please rise. And now for those who wish to prepare for the meeting, we will have a moment of silence. This is a public meeting of the Board of Education. Prior to this meeting, notice was given to the public last Friday by providing the agenda to the city library. The agenda was also posted on the district website. A copy of the agenda was forwarded to the Journal Sentinel, the Waukesha Freeman, all of which have filed requests for all public notices. First, we have privilege of the floor. I don't think we have anybody this evening.
No one.
No? Okay. I don't have any messages or announcements, so we'll move on to the administrative team report.
And I'll defer any updates to the regular agenda.
Okay. And then we have some district reports. We have an incident report, enrollment report, and the donation report. Mr. Wren, would you read the donation report?
Yeah, the first 8 donations are from Ronald Reagan Home and School. $2,820 to support a co-curricular stipend. $3,374.11 to support the all-school read. $1,670 to support the purchase of an eagle mascot costume. $4,300 to support co-curriculars. $198 to support new student welcome gifts. $406.80 to support Rockin' Reagan Day. $536.75 to purchase Ronald Reagan Day staff shirts, and $409.04 to support staff funding. Additionally, we have $430.04 from Poplar Creek PTO to provide a bus for the 6th grade field trip. $5,952.99 from Ronald Reagan Home and School to support individual staff with classroom supplies. $776.50 from Eisenhower Track Boosters to provide track supplies and equipment. $705 from Eisenhower Track Boosters to purchase track state t-shirts. $2,889 from Eisenhower Track Boosters to cover the difference of school budget for the state track bus. And finally, $6,000 from the Herb Cole Educational Foundation to support instruction with supplies.
Well, thank you so much to all of those donations. We really appreciate it. Now we have the consent agenda. The next item on the agenda is consent agenda, which includes the notice, the approval of minutes of the board meeting of June 22nd, and the financial reports. Are there any items that should be pulled out for separate consideration? Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Helmer and a second by Mr. Seidel to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, then all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. On to our regular agenda. We have the employment services update.
Yes, so Director of Employment Services, Scott Garner, is here to present our annual employee experience survey information, along with some other details of kind of where we're at in the staffing for the year. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Scott is newlywed as of yesterday around 5 p.m.
Yes, yeah, it was much warmer than this room, actually, outside, so thank you for that, Superintendent Garza. Good- I'm stunned, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. We have the employee experience summary. What I'm planning to give you tonight is not only the employee experience survey update and what we came up with here the spring of '26, but also the staffing update, which we're in pretty good shape here this year, moving into the next school year. So ultimately, what we look for is participation. A survey is no good if you don't have good participation. And we had a 91% certified staff, all teachers and certified staff participate in the survey, we're up from last year, which was at 89, I believe, percent. 78% for all staff, which again is an excellent turnout. We sent out 652 total surveys and received 506 back. What I do every year, at least I did last year and will continue to do, we want to celebrate what's going well. And again, I can't state enough how important these are and what a big deal this is. When I say that we're celebrating, 97% of our staff would recommend the school district of New Berlin to people they know. That is amazing. That's an amazing number when we look at that, to say that, yep, I work here and I would recommend your kids go here. That's a big deal. Again, I'm treated with respect at work. 96% of our staff feel like they're treated with respect at work. That makes my job easier as Director of Employment Services. I'm glad to see that. And then there is open and honest communication at the School District of New Berlin. We're at 85%. Communication, I will say this, is a tricky thing, because how I communicate with someone maybe isn't the preferred way. Maybe I prefer text, or definitely don't prefer phone. I definitely prefer texts over phone calls sometimes. But if I look at the email, maybe email is another preferred method for someone. Maybe it's written communication. It just depends. It's a personal piece, but ultimately what I'm hearing here from the staff is that open and honest communication at the school district, they're overwhelmingly satisfied with. So we're doing a good job there. Retention's something we talked about and will continue to talk about. It's one of these things that we need to monitor very closely as we look at our long-term, honestly, long-term success as a district. Historical knowledge is important. Historical effort and high-quality effort is important. So as we look at this essentially breaks it down to what's your intent to stay over a period of time. And really we want to look at the 3 to 5 and then over 5-year mark for that. Last year we were at 77%. This year we're up to 78%. So as we look at this number, it's important. People want to stay here. And you can see that in our retention rate, certainly our certified retention rate over time. How engaged are our people, meaning how invested are our staff in the district? If we look at that, we have 60% that are motivated to contribute more than expected. 86% feel personally accomplished by the work, which isn't, I wouldn't think it would be a surprise working with kids. That's typically something that you'd want to feel. But they feel a sense of purpose, they want to come to work, and they feel good about it. And then if they could recommend School District of New Berlin as a great place to work, we have 86% of people staff that say it's a great place. So again, phenomenal numbers. These are opportunities, these are things that we need to work on. Pay and benefits, you guessed, would be the first thing, right? We always constantly work on those things. But these are 3 more things that we looked at that we need to grow on. What I would tell you is this, look at the numbers, 78%, 81%, 82%. Those are still high achieving numbers, meaning people, that's how satisfied people are. It's just our lowest 3. So we're gonna choose these to work on, if that makes sense. I did that in order. I believe that positive change will happen as a result of the survey. So if you survey people, you want to make sure they know you're going to do something about it. And we have a plan for that, and I'll talk to you about that. But I know we've had a plan. It's all about how we communicate that plan and making sure we're explicit with that. Because again, even though we're working on it, maybe people, it's not sinking in or they don't understand what the plan is. And that's on us to communicate. I receive meaningful recognition when I do a good job, 81%. Again, great number, but what is recognition? If you could think about what it means to you, I bet you I'd get different answers across the table as I look out here. So recognition's very personal. maybe I like just, hey, nice job. Maybe I like a certificate. Maybe I like an email. Maybe I like a letter. Maybe I like candy.
Oh, you like
Yes.
candy?
I'm looking right over here. She likes candy, I know that. All right, so it's different for everyone, but again, 81%, I think we're hitting the mark for the most part. Again, work to do. We'll continue to strive to make sure we get that number up, but it's a good one. And then workload and resource constraints is just another way to say work-life balance, right? 82%. Work-life balance, again, is another very personal thing. And it varies with the time of the year, and it varies with each individual based on their family, whatever they have going on outside of work compared to what they're doing at work. So again, we try to balance that, and we try to be understanding with the unique circumstances that present us every day. We try to do that within reason, right? And that's where the director of, well, employee services, I should say, comes in to try to create those guardrails and policies, procedures to make sure we can accommodate when possible for those different unique circumstances. So now what? We surveyed everyone, so now what? All right, we've identified our growth opportunities. Next step is to create our action steps to improve or work on those growth opportunities and then implement the plan. I met with all principals last week, I believe, or 2 weeks ago, and created a template for them. It's all a standardized template that talks about what their highest three and what their bottom three are for each school and managers, and they're going to present that to their staffs, and then they're going to show the staff that they're creating that plan, and then our job as directors is to hold them accountable to that. So we'll be asking them throughout the year, how are you doing on your plan? And essentially, what we'll do is, as you see the pulse survey, which will show up in around January, we're going to check in with staff again to say, hey, these were the things we identified. How are we doing on these? So we'll get a sense of if what we're doing in that first semester is working or not. And if it's not working, we have a little bit of time to try to adjust. And then we'll survey again, the annual survey, which will go out again in late April or so, or March, I should say. And so we'll get that plan already, again, resourced out for next year. And again, next year, we're trying to continue to ask similar questions so we know our progress on each one of those. And we have Qualtrics. We partner with Qualtrics on that to store and categorize that data into dashboards. So that's excellent. We, again, a good partner with that vendor as well as CISA that we work with to create those dashboards. Questions on the survey? All right, moving forward, certified staffing update. We have ultimately 2.6 current vacant positions. This slide is really the living slide of the whole deck here. The details underneath are a little bit adjusted based on what we just had happen late last week. But we do have 2.6 FTE currently vacant for certified positions. I'm very confident. In fact, I know that we will fill at least 2 of those positions here within the next 2 weeks. And the 0.6 we will look at is a little bit more challenging, but we will find a way to get that done. Amanda's great at, we're brainstorming things all the time. So to be this staffed, highly staffed at this time of year is really excellent. I feel like we're in a great place. I don't know how to say it differently than that, but we're just in a good place. We're not worried, we're not concerned right now. Now, knock on wood, because next week it could change, but hopefully not, right? Thank you. And then just my ending slide here. I know that you're very interested in what our highly qualified teacher turnover rate is, or retention rate is, and what our overall retention rate is. And so as we look at this whole ecosystem of New Berlin, we look at the SAIL work we're doing, we work at the teamwork, we look at the funding, we look at well-being through our wellness program and benefits, the career pathways that we're providing some of our staff in terms of trying to broaden their horizons and come back to work for us in a different capacity. We're constantly working on that. We're training our leadership to try to keep people here. And for that reason, I believe we went up another point this year for retention. Last year, if you recall, we were at a 4%, well, I should say 96% retention rate. This year, we're up to 97% teacher retention rate. And then as we look at all of our teachers in all the situations combined, we're looking at 99% of our teachers highly qualified that we retained this last year and moving forward. So I'm very excited for the students and the community in New Berlin here. Questions?
Anybody? I was curious, for the questions, were they all required on the survey, or were employees able to skip any?
They were not all required. It's a required survey, mandated survey, but we don't stop someone if they don't answer the questions. We typically get one or two that are skipped.
So the percentages would be of those who answered the question then?
Correct, yes. And I know the number of respondents based on the numbers in Qualtrics.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good news. Thank you.
Yep.
No pressure today.
All right. So now we have discussed, approve the annual declaration of the annual declaration and parent notice of the district's student academic standards, which will be in effect for the 26-27 school year pursuant to section 120.1213 and section 118.30 1G(a)(1) of the state statutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Seidel, second by Mr. Helmer, to approve the academic standards for 26-27. Is there any discussion? All right, then none. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Then we have a discuss, approve, increase to student lunch price for 26-27. So do we have some context for that before we
Yeah,
talk?
yeah, so I do have some information for you. So we did ask for an adjustment last year for the first time in, I think, 7 or 8 years. So it had been quite some time that we had actually increased prices in the district. We're coming back again to ask for another additional 10-cent increase for effective the 26-27 school year. Main drivers behind our recommendation include staff wages, and particularly insurance costs have gone up, as the board knows. We are significantly over budget with healthcare. We were last year and we were this year. And so we need to make adjustments. And again, just want to clarify too that Fund 50 is its own fund, separate from the general fund. And so it's kind of like a mini budget within the broader budget. And so there's also been an increase in fuel, as we all know, increase in the price of beef, decrease in supply chain assistance revenue from the state and the feds. And talking about that, federal reimbursements are not keeping up pace with cost increases or the rate of inflation. We do have high-cost maintenance equipment upgrades that we need to make. We had $25,000 in walk-in repairs in the walk-in cooler at Eisenhower. We had to update our generator at Eisenhower. That was $120,000, mainly because this is where we house the larger walk-in coolers and freezers. We had a $100,000 generator installation at West that is planned for this year. And to put it in perspective, we are a part of a food service consortium. So we have currently the lowest lunch prices in our consortium, which includes Elmbrook, McGuanago, Whitnall, and Kettle Moraine. For kindergarten through 6th grade, we are 30 cents lower than average and 70 cents lower than the high school average as part of our consortium. So SDNB 712 is 70 cents lower than the average and $1.15 lower than the high. Those are the reasons why we're bringing this recommendation to you. Quite honestly, during COVID, back in 2020, we were getting a lot of federal assistance. Quite honestly, not even sure that we even needed some of the assistance that was being provided, but it was. And so what it boils down to is just increased costs, and we need to bring in additional revenue to support that. Ron?
Is this going to, no, I realize it's 10 cents. Is this going to increase, or is there an anticipated increase in free and reduced?
Slightly.
And what is the federal reimbursement rate right now? I'm not exactly positive what it is.
I apologize, I do not have that information.
That's okay, if you can just send it.
I will do that.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
All right. Are we ready for a motion then, or are there more questions for
Can I
clarification?
ask one quick question?
Yeah, for clarification.
Yeah. Is this going to affect who we approve for free and reduced?
No.
Okay.
That's a federally stated requirement.
Okay.
Percent of income and so on.
Okay.
What was the increase last year?
10 cents.
Okay.
Is this increase in the budget?
It is not.
Okay.
Like Joe said, it doesn't affect our general budget, it would just be the food budget.
Right.
But at least in the proposed Fund 50 budget, it is not yet.
Any other questions? All right, do we have I'm
I'll
sorry.
make a motion to
A
approve.
motion, okay.
I second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Mr. Seidel and a second by Mr. Zelinski to approve. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, then all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Next, we have discuss approved change to employee handbook. And you have some context for that, too.
Yeah, so, as Scott just mentioned in his presentation, we survey staff, we talk to staff, and we seek their input on where we may be missing the boat on some things. One thing that's come up over the course of the last couple years is that any non-exempt employee, so I'm talking about special education assistants, regular education assistants, library assistants, and so on, if we have a snow day or a day is canceled due to weather or we have no power at a school, they are not paid for that day, while all other employees are actually paid for that day. And this, we believe, is something that we are recommending approval to make this change based on their feedback and things that they can't control, like the weather, like whether the electricity is going to be there or not. And as a point of clarification, Matt, based on your question now, we already budget for these days anyway. So these days these dollars are already built in that we assume we're going to work the entire year. And so we needed to make, in order for us to make this change, we need a board to approve the change to the employee handbook, which was provided to you in the board packet. Again, we've listened to our employees. It's something that's been concerning to them. We think we do believe and recommend that it's the fair thing to do. And so we would be recommending approval of it as presented.
Obviously,
Go ahead.
obviously, this is dependent, and we don't know how many snow days we have, but if this is one snow day, what is the cost of this? Yep.
$17,000.
And then these are non-exempt, so they get paid if they work over 40 hours a week, correct? Overtime, sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Is that, that's part of why they don't get paid for snow days, right? Because they get paid additional, unlike our exempt employees.
Yes, but for that to count, they have to actually be at work and attend work in person to get paid for that, so.
Yep.
So if they do get paid for a snow day, that's not going to count towards their 40 hours for the week.
Correct.
They'll get paid, but not the hours aren't.
It wouldn't count towards overtime, if
Right.
that's
Okay.
what you're asking, correct?
How many,
Oh,
But if
sorry.
they worked 40 hours on the other 4 days, those 8 hours would not count as overtime, you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I want to make sure.
do we know roughly how many non-exempt employees would be impacted by this?
I wouldn't be able to give you an exact number. I can give you around 300-ish.
And do we know if this is what other school districts do?
So I did some checking on that, and some districts around here, it's a smattering of things. Some allow their staff to stay home, and then they can earn hours working from home. Some others do pay their non-certified staff straight like they do with their teachers and other staff. It's just a smattering. Some don't pay them like we have done in the past.
What districts in our areas do each? Like Elmbrook, Muskego,
So Elmbrook allows them to work from home and earn professional development hours.
okay.
I don't know what that exactly is. I don't know what that means. Our partners, so Muskego does not allow them, does not pay them at this time. Those are the ones I recall.
And you said it was $17,000? And 300 employees?
Again, it's a guess. It's
That's
a
like
guesstimate.
$56 an employee. That's
But
insane.
are these all full-time?
No,
I'm
these are
assuming-
part-time
yeah.
staff.
So this is food service, janitorial,
Be food service, custodial, but they can all be required to work if necessary. So for example, like custodians and or maintenance, they would need to work during a snow day. They typically do, so they would.
they come in anyways.
Yes,
So
correct.
they're not impacted by that
Right.
for the most part.
So the exact number, I think I'm high with 300, but I'm gonna tell you more versus less, because I don't wanna understate it.
And Joe, your point was, we budget as if there will be 0 snow days. So the cost of paying all these employees is already in the budget.
It's already built in.
Yeah.
It's the additional savings that you get at the end of the year that you don't spend, yeah. That's- It's the extra 30 grand or whatever that ends up left over that.
All right, are we ready for a motion? Or more questions? Take a motion.
I motion to vote on the amended handbook for 26-27.
You have to, a motion to approve.
I motion to approve
Yes,
the
thank you.
amended handbook for 2026-2027.
I second.
I have a motion by Ms. Peterson and a second by Mr. Zelinski. Any discussion?
I would like to see what, I think to your point, what every school district around us does before I make a final decision. I don't know what the rest of the board feels, but I think we should have that information and understand, are we at a disadvantage right now, or would this make us an outlier?
Any other comments?
So like we do surveys of employees and they say, I like these things, I don't like these things. And then based on the things that they don't like, the administration determined this was one of the things that we can address. And so this is your response to that survey and feedback. and
It
everything.
is.
Yeah.
And we've been hearing it, when people have a fixed income and the weather happens, these are employees that are making anywhere between $15 to $30 or $24 an hour, maybe slightly more, slightly less. That's a significant impact to them over something they cannot control. And then they're, we've talked about, professional development and trying to find additional hours and, we would still continue to find ways to kind of earn some of that back. But again, this has just been a repeated issue. And quite honestly, some of our turnover rates with special education assistants, that is an area that we are, it's just student needs, and then you're only getting paid so much money. It's a really difficult job, and then when, you're not getting paid for one full day of the 2-week payroll, that's a lot to somebody's income.
How many snow days did we have this fiscal year or this calendar year?
Do we have any or one?
There was a
Cold day.
We had a cold day.
One cold day.
And if I just may add, in addition to what Superintendent Garza mentioned in terms of the budget, their dependence on work, it's a great recruiting technique for us as well. So as we're looking for people to come into the district for some of these hard-to-fill positions, specifically special education assistants and others, we can say, hey, we're going to pay you, you can depend on us, we're going to pay you consistently based on your work calendar. And so that's something that we can use for the non-certified staff in order to help recruit, much like we do with our teachers and certified staff when we talk about our benefits. We've got a great benefit program, so it's just another tool for us.
And sorry, one more time, can you run through what the other schools do that you looked at for comparison purposes?
Yes, so we mentioned Elmbrook in particular. They do professional development hours. I don't know what that is. People are working from home, but I don't know what that means in terms of they can go online and look for professional development, or if they have a catalog. I don't know what that looks like. I didn't ask more detail. And then the other districts, I talked to Muskego in particular, they don't currently pay for those days, for that staff. And there's others that don't as well. I looked at handbooks, I can't recall the two that I spoke to directly, those are the ones I remember.
But to your point, then, if Muskego is such a close district to us and they don't offer that, and someone is looking geographically speaking between us or Muskego for a job, that could make us the more attractive, if you will.
And/or
School
less
district.
attractive to
Destination.
Yes.
Elmbrook, for example. So the other way around with Elmbrook, where
Right,
they are doing that and we're not.
exactly,
right,
exactly.
The professional development is probably their annual training or their online.
It very well could be,
online
there's
training
always,
too.
it could, yeah, and there are different trainings that come along, nonviolent crisis intervention, other certifications and credentials you can earn, but, yeah, we don't have that in place.
You may not know this number, I know because it was a ballpark before, but percentage-wise, do you know how many of these would be special education assistants? Because I know that's a very hard position to fill with the right person.
Yeah,
I've got all the time in the world.
I would, Amanda would know offhand, I would guesstimate right around 130-ish, but I might be completely wrong, so I don't want to guess and tell you again.
It's probably a majority of that employee group, right?
Yes, and SLAs, student learning assistants.
So regular ed assistants and spec ed assistants.
75.
Oh, I was too high, sorry. See, that's why I don't want to guess anymore.
There you go. All right. Well, I'm in favor, because we just looked at that survey, and we're trying to do things to improve scores, and this is one of them. And I think if it's been budgeted for and it's able to be put into the budget, I think it would be something good, and it is something that can help retain and attract, so.
And I
Any
think
other-
it's a good benefit for, I mean, these are individuals making $30,000 to $40,000 a year. So if you're going to sell them on some benefits, this is a big one.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, if there's no other discussion, are you ready to take the vote? All right, then all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. All right, so then we have some, an action item discussed in closed session. Do I have the motion?
I'll make a motion to improve or approve the employment, performance, and compensation matters pertaining to staff as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Seidel and a second by Mr. Helmer to approve the employment services report as presented. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Future meetings and dates, so our meetings are generally held right here in Conference Room E at the district offices unless noted otherwise. Next meeting is August 10th, then August 24th, and then September 14th. September 28th, mark your calendars, that is our budget hearing and annual meeting. Another important date, can you believe it? September 1st is the first day of school. I would entertain a motion to return to closed session. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion
Oh
to
my goodness, I
adjourn.
read the wrong one. Thank you for not doing, thank you.
I second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Seidel and a second by Ms. Peterson to adjourn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes, this meeting is adjourned.